There's one really important factor about inflammation that I think people overlook a lot. One of the problems is that when you have inflammation in your scalp, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you have been following this series, you know that currently I'm working on this series that should address all hair loss related topics that you might want to learn about before you start your own fight against hair loss. Today, in our fourth video, we're going to explore a topic that is, in my opinion, often pretty much overlooked, but crucial. Scalp inflammation and its impact on hair loss. So first off, I want to start out by explaining the inflammation in hair loss and how it works. Let's start by getting an understanding in what inflammation actually is. In simple terms, inflammation is mine and yours body's response to injury or irritation. It's a signal that something needs to heal or be fixed. But when it comes to our scalp, this inflammation can sometimes go into some kind of overdrive, not only just affecting our skin, but actually also our follicles, and can potentially lead to hair loss. Recent studies have actually shown a clear link between scalp inflammation and various forms of hair loss. Conditions like alopecia areata, which is an autoimmune disorder, and even our good friend, the common male pattern baldness or androgenic alopecia, have both been linked to underlying inflammatory processes. This doesn't mean that inflammation alone causes hair loss, but it is a significant factor that can worsen the condition. The causes of inflammation are pretty various. They can range from environmental factors like pollution and UV exposure to lifestyle factors like diet, stress, and even sleep. And in my opinion, a lot of the hair care products we use can also contribute to these factors. For instance, a diet that is high in processed foods and sugars can contribute to overall inflammation according to studies in the body, and that includes of course the scalp. So what does this mean for us? Understanding the role of inflammation in the health of hair is the first step towards addressing hair loss effectively. It is not just about treating the symptoms, but also about identifying and mitigating the underlying causes of the inflammation. Now, in a few seconds, we're going to talk about how to do that with lifestyle changes and treatments that can keep our scalp healthy and our hair strong and thick. So now let's talk about anti-inflammatory strategies for hair health. So here we're going to focus on practical ways to reduce inflammation for better health of our hair. As I just said before, a significant factor is our diet. So I would say eating foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids like salmon, flax seeds, and walnuts can actually help to manage inflammation. Also, antioxidants found in berries, green leafy vegetables, and nuts are also great for fighting inflammation. Stress management is another key area. Chronic stress can also trigger inflammation throughout the body, including once again the scalp. And techniques like meditation, regular exercise, and just getting enough sleep can be detrimental to reducing your inflammation in your scalp. There's one really important factor about inflammation that I think people overlook a lot. One of the problems is that when you have inflammation in your scalp, it will actually lead to increased sebum production. That sebum production usually creates a better place for microorganisms to live in. These microorganisms will cause more inflammation. The problem is when you have more inflammation, you're actually going to react way more negatively to androgenic exposure, like DHT, for example. This will cause your inflammation to grow, and you will create more sebum production, which will create a better living conditions for the microorganisms, and will worsen your inflammation, which will once again worsen your reaction to androgenic exposure. So guys, inflammation, if you are treating androgenic alopecia, is crucial to keep low, to have the minimal exposure or a reaction at least to the androgenic effect that you'll get from your hormones like testosterone or dihydrotestosterone. If you look through my videos, you will see that I made several videos about how to reduce body fat, how you should address the protein causes, And currently I'm looking a lot into sleep and how it affects hair loss. And there's already established a lot of links between really bad sleeping habits and how it affects hair loss. So I would recommend that if you're struggling with hair loss and inflammation is something you worry about, guys, get some decent sleep in there, you know. It's also not just gonna help with the hair loss. It's gonna help with your mind function. It's gonna help with your overall brain function. It's gonna help with your body, and you're gonna die way older if you get enough sleep. You know, this is not just for hair loss. So personally, I advise the first step is get some quality sleep in and get some quality food and nutrients in there. Also, when it comes to hair care, the products that we use does make a difference. You know, choosing a vegan, natural shampoo with natural ingredients and avoiding harsh chemicals, of course, will prevent unnecessary irritation in the scalp. Once again, I already did a video on how often you actually should wash your hair, and according to science, washing your hair 6 times a week would actually keep the inflammation to a minimum. And it has been linked already and proven in studies that if you wash your hair 6 times weekly, that is going to give you the minimal amount of hair loss and help you to manage that hair loss by probably manage that inflammation. But now that we know that you need to change your lifestyle and we know that inflammation can be the cause of hair loss, what can you actually do on top of that to help yourself? Well, topical treatments and natural remedies can be a more direct approach to treating your inflammation problem. So let's talk about topical treatments and natural remedies for inflammation. One really effective method is using oils. Essential oils are already known for their anti-inflammatory properties. For instance, rosemary oil is not only just used to reduce inflammation, but it also promotes nerve growth. And on top of that, something like peppermint oil can increase circulation, vasodilatation in the scalp, and by using these two things, you can actually get some kind of a dual benefit, you know. Another good remedy is stuff like aloe vera, known for its soothing and also the anti-inflammatory effects. You know, applying aloe vera to the scalp can calm some irritation, and it can provide a way more healthy environment for hair growth. On top of that, you know, medical shampoos like Ketoconazole, as I talked about a ton of time, or salicylic acid can help reduce the scalp inflammation. But not only that, also the microorganisms living in there, and they're usually the cause of this inflammation. These things are not only useful if you're treating hair loss, they can actually help you treat stuff like dandruff or at least reduce your psoriasis. And these things on top of all can actually also contribute to hair loss. So remember, while these treatments can be effective, it's important to, first of all, patch test any new product that you want to use to ensure that you don't get any adverse reaction. You know, there's nothing worse than applying some product to your scalp and the next day you're red and swollen and you have to go to work like that. So let's say that you want to take it even further. Well, you can always seek out some professional advice or some professional advanced treatments or professional care, whatever you call them. There's some really advanced options out there, like the platelet-rich plasma therapy, also known as PRP, or the corticosteroid injections, which are getting increasingly popular. PRP involves using your own blood pellets to stimulate new hair growth, while corticosteroids can reduce inflammation directly at the hair follicles. However, these treatments are way more invasive, and I would really be very considerate with consulting a healthcare professional before I would do any of these kind of treatments. Besides that, you know, a dermatologist or a trichologist can actually provide you with personalized advice based on your specific condition and your medical history. Remember, guys, it is crucial that you know that what might work for one person might not work for other persons. Like, for example, personally, I know that I need to use the Ketoconazole shampoo at least once a week. If I don't do that, I start to get that itchy scalp, and I know that's a really bad sign. But on the other hand, probably a lot of you guys have seen this guy. You know, he's using the rosemary oil, and he's using it, I believe it's daily that he's using it, and also daily is microneedling on top of that. Now, this is working for him. But personally, I would never do that. I would never microneedle every day. I think it's way too excessive, but for some reason it is working for him. It is working extremely well. But that doesn't mean it's gonna work for you. That is why I usually say that you should test out these things and at least consult a professional if you're gonna do invasive procedures. So to wrap it up, understanding and managing scalp inflammation is a vital part of tackling hair loss. From dietary changes to medical treatments, there are numerous ways to deal with these kind of problems. But you got to remember to approach this journey with patience and care. And you know what, guys, always seek professional advice when needed. And guys, if you have any good advice on how to deal with inflammation and how to deal with hair loss, I would love to hear them down in the comment section. And besides that, I will see you in the next video. Cheers.